Hey YouTube, Phil Gallagher here for your daily D&T. We're currently we're gonna try to play our match again there. Don't know what happened there. Anyway, we're currently 1-1 in this league with a win against Rug Delver and a very, very narrow loss to Burn. I had a Chalice on 1 and a Chalice on 2, and then they had double Fire Blast. Let's see how it's going. Face down Hisa here. Good luck, have fun. You too. We're going to keep a pretty medium hand. Having Mother of Runes is nice, but we don't have a good turn 2 play. Like, not even Wastelanding is good with this hand, since we're so mana hungry with these two cards. Alright. Cool. I faced down this card once before, so I should remember what this is. It was something super janky. I don't remember if it was like an Urza deck or like a Dreadnought deck or what it was. Was it like Thopter Sword? Painter, okay. So I can let them sacrifice this. Oh, and they can use this to just go and create a bunch of idiots that they can sacrifice. Alright, I kind of see how this is going here. So... I guess I am going to be wastelanding my opponent. Don't know if this deck plays Daze. If it does, they kind of like get me either way in some capacity. And I feel like Cheeky Mom attack is fine. This thing costs 2 mana to make the first token. Alright, 2 mana to make the first token. Phil, you literally just said that. So over the course of a couple turns, they can make some big idiots that I can just Flicker Wisp away. This card is annoying, though. So my opponent doesn't seem to have a lot going on, which is great for me. This card can potentially get out of control. So they can turn a Servo into a Thopter. Or, sorry, I guess this is English pronunciation. A Servo into a Thopter. And then they can turn the Thopter into a 4/4 idiot. But it costs 3 to untap. Or no, so they have 4 mana. Okay, so they can make a 4/4 right now. The 4/4 does not fly, though, right? No. The 1/1 flies. Okay. So my attack is safe. So what they'll probably do is make a Thopter, block. Oh, no. They did not do it. I don't know this deck list well enough to know if I should just like 100% go and jam this turn on like 1 or something like that. I just don't know. Because I don't know, I'm just going to ram this sword out here and try, like, between the Flicker Wisp and the sword, try to just gun down whatever my opponent is doing. Yep. I wonder if I should have put my Sanctum Prelate on, like, 4 for, like, Karn. I'm not familiar with the blue-red Retrofitter Foundry Painter deck. A personal weakness of mine. Another notable moment where Giver of Runes would be giving protection from this. We would love to draw into a Revoker. We're going to play a Speed Bump. What? Shouldn't that have been the same thing as last turn? Where they just go and create another big idiot? It doesn't have a limitation on it, right? Like, only do this if you have none of them? Nope. Alright, maybe they know something I don't. Maybe they misclicked. Maybe they don't have enough red sources in their deck. A lot of things that could be going on here. We're just going to take that hit. I was intending on jump blocking with the other Mother of Runes, but I guess that's not happening. Alright, so now did you figure out the line where you go and do cool things? Yep. Okay. That's all fine and good. So now we'll go to our second main phase. So we'll go and Flicker Wisp away this construct. Play a Stoneforge Mystic. I think I'm just going to get the Jitte. There's like worlds where an ensnaring bridge gets involved and Jitte is more valuable than Batterskull. Alright, my opponent has conceded the game here, and I have to figure out how on earth to sideboard. We're going to start with that Pithing Needle, that's for sure. And this cat, that's getting in there. These Council's Judgments seem great. Cataclysm, I don't really know, but like maybe? Unclear. We're going to start by boarding those. What don't I want? Jailer seems like a liability here. Mirror Crusader seems like it's going to match up poorly against Retrofitter Foundry. Mother of Runes probably has very limited utility as well. That would be 60 if I play the Cataclysms, leaving me with 20 creatures. Probably go on 2 to stop Retrofitter Foundry. I'm not really sure what to do with this card, which like maybe means that I should just be boarding it out and just keeping a generic beater like Crusader in the deck in the first place. But maybe I'll have a better idea by the time it actually comes around to casting this again. This is sort of a medium minus hand. I'm going to keep it on the draw. So I guess this is just here for like the Goblin Engineer. And it's like something for it to go and sack. Maybe that's why my opponent appeared to have so few red sources, is because they're very heavy on the astrolabes. Okay, so this was a 1, not a 2. My bad. So it looks like we're going to have a respectable legacy curve of a 2/3 flyer into a removal spell into Connect with Jitte. Alright, Copter plus Retrofitter Foundry is kind of nice. 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 So I guess the question becomes, do I want to use Council's Judgment this turn for like maximum mana efficiency? Probably. We're just going to go ahead and take this out. It's more of a problem than the looter scooter. I quite like my position right now. We'll see if something changes. Okay. Maybe Chalice of the Void would have been good against my opponent. Like Astrolabes, Brainstorms, maybe Ponders. Baleful Strix, okay. Hmm. Am I just immediately crashing in with Jitte? Probably. I don't actually care about the Tomic. I could play more patiently. I could just revoke the Engineer or the Copter and just like play out a Stoneforge this turn. That might be better. We're going to shut off that Goblin Engineer. And then we'll just jam a Stoneforge Mystic down my opponent's throat. This is awkward with Painter, but whatever. And since my opponent crewed, No attack there is safe. Well, I should say no attack there is correct. Because otherwise the wording's ambiguous, because the English language is really fun like that. My recruiter is potentially going to be pretty good somewhere down the line. I don't really know what it's doing yet, though. Alright, does opponent have a Baleful Strix? A big Tezzeret. Well, I guess it's not like the biggest Tezzeret anymore, but it is a big Tezzeret. Grindstone, okay. I boarded in those Cataclysms, right? Because those would be sick. Alright, plenty of options this turn. How does this one work? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 artifacts, so they can make me lose 10 with it. So I think we're going to go ahead and activate this. Put in my sword. Attach the sword to Tomic. Attempt to attack the Tezzeret and kill it. Which I think is just actually going to cause my opponent to animate their Smuggler's Copter and block with it. Which is fine. I get to take something out for... I forgot that I got to loot on block. You can tell that I did not play Standard when this card was everywhere, and a Menace that I think ended up getting itself banned. So if my opponent goes like Imperial Recruiter into Painter, they can't also activate. I also don't know if they actually have something like Imperial Recruiter. So I don't think I need to waste land. I'm just going to pass the turn. We'll see if I get punished for not going Recruiter of the Guard into Revoke Grindstone. I just don't know how scared I can afford to play. When I made my initial line, I did it not remembering that they were going to get to loot on block. But at least they missed on that. Alright, Baleful Strix, that's not that big of a deal. Opponent's deck list is very interesting. Don't know if good. There's a lot of moving parts. And I can respect that. Alright. Karn is an annoyance. Getting slightly punished for not using my Wasteland. Okay, so they're just making my Sword of Fire and Ice fall off. Sure. That makes the Baleful Strix slightly better. My Palace Jailer's in my sideboard, right? Yes, my Palace Jailer is in my sideboard. Okay, so what do I want to do? I can Recruiter of the Guard for a flicker with something out of the way, attack a bunch of things. And just go and revoke something. So if I got this Baleful Strix out of the way, or alternatively the Goblin Engineer, I'd be going and attacking in. Probably can't actually get rid of that. It's just scary. But so like if I got rid of this, I'd be attacking in for 6 damage that could be unblocked, or I could be attacking in for 8 and guarantee that I kill something. The Karn here is a nuisance. It makes my equipment way worse, and I was kind of reliant on that. And the Karn also just threatens an ultimate. Like, Minus and Mycosynth Lattice pretty much locks me out of the game. So I think one way or another my turn starts here, and I figure out what I'm going to do. So I Flicker Wisp, I have Leonin Relic Warder. I can Relic Warder away the Baleful Strix and then crash in with the team. That's probably better than Flicker Wisping. Alright, I'm in for that. This is just leaving me vulnerable to actually dying to the combo. I think I want to kill the Karn. So that goes at Karn, that goes at Karn, that can't attack. That goes at Karn. That's 5 damage guaranteed to the Karn. If I attack with this, my opponent can trade the Engineer for it. But if they do, then the Engineer is gone, and it's not a problem unless they have another one, and this kills the Karn. Yeah, I'm fine with all of that. Tezzeret digging 5 deep to just find a Painter, though, is pretty scary. And, like, maybe for that reason, and, like, with stringing together with, like, Strix and things like that, I really should have considered wastelanding my opponent. My opponent was just mentioning, like, how interesting this game is. Okay, so throwing away the Goblin Engineer means that they can keep the Karn alive at 1. Which is Not something I initially considered, but like it's obvious now in retrospect. But the Karn alive at 1 means that it can't just like minus and get a bridge or minus and get a lattice, and I'm in trouble. Don't find Painter. Ensnaring Bridge. That is not good. Because my opponent can presumably empty their hand. One, two, three, 4, 5. Ensnaring Bridge will be 6 artifacts, and I'm just going to die to 2 Tezzeret minuses. So Council's Judgment, Revoker, both very good draws. Cataclysm looking pretty hot. Thalia less so. So my opponent has 1 card, so my 1 power creatures can attack this turn. So I'll attack Karn. I'll attack Karn. My opponent's cards shuffling back and forth is kind of hilarious. Okay. So then the question becomes, now what? 2, 4, 5, 6 mana available to me. So I can play Jitte, play Thalia, equip a sword to something. So as long as this happens first. What is most detrimental if it dies? Probably the Relic Order, just giving them a card back. Very much concerned about my well-being. Manual Grindstone. Alternate win condition. Painter Servant. So they can play Painter Servant and Grindstone me. So we'll concede there. So we know a little bit more about my opponent's list. The Needle seems even better than ever. What did I board out? My opponent's deck might just be slow enough that like the Palace Jailer is actually good. Like there's a whole Retrofitter Foundry thing, but when they don't have that, this actually seems legit. I'm going to think about this for a second while I refill my water bottle, because I'm a thirsty boy. Sorry, YouTube. I know you usually don't have to wait on me. But this decision's kind of tricky. And I am legitimately thirsty. I don't really know what to do with this card. Like, putting it on 4 is obviously going to be good. Putting it on 1 also might be acceptable. And maybe the Swords to Plowshares isn't necessarily as great as I thought it was. I think I'm going to put the Jailer back in the deck. And then proceed from here. I would like to play first. Yikes. I don't know that I can throw back a hand with the Council's Judgment. While the Aether Vial obviously doesn't really do anything right now, it's going to let me like curve my Jitte into my Council's Judgment. And then hopefully I'll have drawn a creature I can connect with the Jitte, and that'll give me some degree of interaction against some of my opponent's things, like the Goblin Engineer, the Painter, and so forth. But my opponent has Welder as well. I can probably wait a turn and just like Violin the Tomic next turn. Miss out on 2 points of damage, but just use my Aether Vial more productively. And also just like threaten to get rid of the Goblin Welder. Honestly, I'm kind of hoping that my opponent plays a decent artifact this turn that I can Council's Judgment away. Alright, this Goblin Engineer plus Goblin Welder thing is going to get obnoxious real quick. My opponent will just probably loop through some artifact that draws cards. That would be some artifact that draws cards. Wasteland, not great, but I'm going to play it rather than picking something here. Yeah, so my opponent's going to get a card out of that, and then I'll just exile the Baleful Strikes. Temporarily stop some of these shenanigans, and then hopefully I can just start using my Jitte to pick these off turn by turn. It's just devastating if they Karn here. Yep. We are not built to beat this deck, that's for sure. We get to interact with it on a number of different levels, but we're not doing so hot in terms of having enough interaction. Like, everything my opponent has is a moving part. Maybe I kept a hand that was too artifact-centric, like knowing that my opponent plays Karns. I had to very awkwardly use the Council's Judgment so my opponent just couldn't multiple loop Baleful Strikes. Which I guess that's saying something to the power level of like the deck building that's going on over there. What I'm not really seeing is how my opponent beats combo decks. Because they can't be a Chalice deck, right? Like, they just have too many 1-drops. I didn't see anything like Trinisphere in game 1. So they just meant to bully on the fair stuff and just grind out with like all this graveyard-based value. Yeah, you can swap around Grindstone and Mox Opal. That's fine with me. Yep. That one I'm less fine with. So I guess I need to nug the active Goblin Welder right now. It's just sort of a poor use of this. All right, that's the third artifact for Metalcraft. So now the Goblin Engineer can turn the Astrolabe back into a Grindstone, so they can continue to loop on future turns. Yuck. So let's say always no to this for right now. I need a little more oomph here. Again, there are worlds where I can consider wastelanding my opponent, but I don't really think it's the best use of my time. My opponent's probably going to like plus on my Batter Skull, so I'll get a 5/5 for one turn. So my opponent says GG. Oh, just get a Painter Servant and murder me. Yeah, all right. Well done, opponent. My confusion about what was going on with your deck led to my demise. GG. Folks, I will see you back tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed.